You're listening to Podcast PXN,
a video game podcast
delivering player experience news.
Let's go! Wake up, samurais, and welcome to Podcast PXN, episode 126. I am one of your hosts, your favorite Portland Mexican, Christian Macias, and I'm joined over Discord by Kentucky's number one Spartan, Daniel Prindle, aka Dan is DTM.
Hello.
The Nintendo official. Hello. The Nintendo. never interrupt me again. The Nintendo aficionado, Roro, and one half of the Men in Gage podcast, Gage Dempster, aka Gilbo Biggins, over on Twitter. Now everyone can say hello.
Hello. See that, Dan? That's called waiting your turn.
Thank you to everyone watching us live and participating in the chat. Just as a reminder, we are live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Just search Podcast PXN. Over there on twitch.tv as well at twitch.tv/podcastpxn and Twitter. The topic of the show this week is Cyberpunk 2077, but more on that later. First, the show always starts with the PXN news of the week. Well, it's actually, no, I'm lying to you. I have two small items for everyone before that.
Ooh.
Okay. First item, thank you to Dan. If you visual listeners, watchers, visual listeners, you can look at the new layout that Dan has prepared for us. Looking nice for all four of us. So, thank you, Dan.
Yes. Looks nice.
And also, thank you to Dan again for being born and turning 30. Happy birthday, Dan. Hope you had
Happy
a good
birthday,
weekend.
Dan.
You weren't supposed to drop the number, Christian. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
Dan's
bad, my bad.
super old now.
Kidding. I'm not.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling.
New decade.
I feel the same. I don't feel any different. So
You look the same.
yeah,
If that's any
I guess that's a consolation.
Yes. Okay, now it's time to jump into the news of the week. The show always starts with quick bites, our smaller items that we can kind of work through quickly. And if we want to say more stuff about it, we do that. Our first item, Capcom teases a countdown to something on their website. Let's look at the current countdown. I think it should be at 4 days or 3 days right now. The countdown is at 4 days and 4 hours. What that could be, who knows? I have no idea. NFT?
Oh God, that's
Could you imagine?
scarier than Resident Evil right there.
Oof.
Hope not.
I mean, I guess we'll find out next week, right?
Yeah. Whoever's hosting, make a note of this.
Yes.
You'll have to come back to this website and find out what it is. Moving on through some review roundups. I think Dan added this one probably because he has this on his. Oh, I have this on my fantasy critic. Total War Warhammer 3 reviews are in, and what a surprise! It is getting insane amount of points for Dan. Some great averages. Looking at OpenCritic, it has at 89 average on OpenCritic, with 100% critics recommending Total War Warhammer 3. So,
Man,
if you like those games.
I don't know what you're talking about, Christian. I'm the biggest Total War fan out there.
There's no way.
I'm
Have
kidding.
you even played one?
No, I'm kidding. But I am a big RTS fan, so I may actually check this out because it's on Game Pass, which is great on PC. So I may check it out.
Which is a huge get. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Next week, I'm finally on the board with Witch Queen coming out. Hopefully, it does well, so I can come out of the negatives in our fantasy draft. Oh man,
Are you in the negatives? Oh, because you
I'm in the
counterpicked-
negatives because I counterpicked
counterpicked.
Sifu. That's what I did.
See if we didn't do like crazy numbers. So, I think you're in decent
Hopefully, I'm
shape.
able to bounce
Also,
back.
apparently, you can't change your counter pick, so I'm going to be right there with you when Shredder's Revenge comes out and is inevitably really good.
The sequel.
Oh, speaking of Destiny, I had something that I totally forgot to add. So I'll do that actually in a bit later. So while we're discussing stuff, so I'm gonna mark it here. We'll get to it in a second. Moving on to more review roundups. Horizon Forbidden West embargoes were up on Monday. To no surprise, it is getting some great feedback. 5 out of 5 from Kinda Funny, 9.3 from Game Informer, 9 from IGN, 10 from Press Start. I think it's also at an 89 over on OpenCritic, which is the same average that Horizon Forbidden West received when that first launched a few years ago. So another banger by Guerrilla. Can't wait to play that game.
Yes.
The game looks gorgeous, dude.
Oh my
It
god.
looks insane. Like even on the PS4 it looks good, but when you see the graphical comparison between the PS4 and the PS5, it's like, oh my god, like the water insert and the sand.
water!
The water is insane, dude. But yeah, this game looks absolutely gorgeous. And there was a quick little clip that made me want to play it so much more where Aloy is like on a mountain and then she just grapples onto this robot pterodactyl and she like climbs on it and she starts flying off. It's like, it's incredible. This looks so much fun.
To that point, Ro, I was so bummed when I saw that GIF come across my feed. That and the screenshot that Jeff posted because it
Mhm.
wasn't in marketing, and like I saw it
That
come
would have been a
across
nice
this week.
surprise, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, but even still, I wasn't like entirely disappointed because like it was gorgeous to see that like in action. It looks fantastic.
And
There's also a screenshot of Aloy over ice that just like, I mean, there's nothing
I haven't
going on.
seen
She's
that
just
one yet.
over ice, and like it just looks amazing.
the performance boost for the PS5 version is going to be great too. 60 FPS.
Yes. And it's a huge upgrade over the last one is the facial animations. I don't know if you guys seen some clips
Yeah.
of everybody talking, but the first one, like that was one of the big criticisms and that those GIFs were going around. Whereas this one, it's like totally night and day. Like this looks really good.
Did we all play the original? Not
Yep.
Forbidden West. God, these names. Zero Dawn. Zero Dawn.
Zero Dawn, yeah.
Yes.
I have not
Yes.
played Zero Dawn yet.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know. I thought the animations were fine in there, but yeah, Forbidden West looks really, really great. Shout out to that dude on Twitter who didn't know that humans have hair all over their body.
Oh man, I was looking at the pictures like, what do you? I was like, oh, she has facial hair. That's kind of cool. I mean, she's in prehistoric times, and I guess that makes sense. She's not shaving, or maybe she is. I don't know. But then there's just like the peach fuzz, right, on her
Yeah,
face. That what they're
sure.
talking about? Oh,
Sir,
okay.
what do you mean? What do you mean she's in prehistoric times?
There's
Oh,
no
not-
red
well,
lipstick and there's
okay.
no eyeshadow.
Not prehistoric
my
times,
alloy.
but like, you know what I mean. I know, not prehistoric times. I'm sorry.
Yes,
The
no, I
future.
get you.
Prehistoric future.
Yes.
Perfect. Speaking of Horizon, the Horizon Forbidden West Lego set was announced. It is $80 and it is of a tall neck. Looks really cool. I don't know. I'm not a huge Lego person anymore now that I've grown up, but I don't know. I would maybe think about buying this. Like this looks rad.
As you say that, as I look around and I'm like, I have Legos like built right here of Halo
Oh,
stuff.
do you really?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, power to you. I don't know.
nope.
Child at heart, dance.
Let me just take these and just destroy them live on air right now.
Oh man.
I need you to know that, like in earnest, like that rocks. Like Legos rock. I wish I had the money for it because it's expensive. It's an expensive hobby. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And then I think Dan added this because I totally forgot to add it in as well. More Horizon stuff. Sony will plant a tree for everyone who hits a specific trophy in Horizon Forbidden West. And it's supposed to just happen like in like the main game, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So it's Guerrilla Sony to commemorate the release of Horizon Forbidden West is going to be working with the Arbor Day Foundation and will donate one tree to a forest restoration project for every player who gets that trophy up until it was sometime in March, I believe, March 25th. So you have a little bit over a month if you're picking up Horizon to get that trophy and help forest restoration.
Yeah.
That was really
Yeah.
cool.
That's
That's
super
awesome.
cool. Yes.
There's a game that I played in 2020, I think. It was an indie game called Alba's Wildlife Adventure that did something similar as indie games. So obviously sales aren't going to be as high as Horizon, but every game that was sold, they planted a tree. And it was really awesome. It was a really awesome initiative. And they met their goal met their goal of planting 1 million trees, and they restored 3 habitats. So hopefully Sony, a bigger company, can do even better.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. Maybe Dan knows more than I do, but I saw someone on Twitter, like in a response to some tweet talking about this Horizon stuff, that the Microsoft rewards on the website have like some stuff like this as well. That if you have your reward points, you can redeem stuff that helps our planet as well, which I thought was really cool.
Yes.
I didn't know about that.
Yes. You can. So they have all kinds of rewards on there, but you can like donate to like charities and I don't know all of them specifically, but I have seen those before. Yep.
That is awesome stuff.
Yep.
And that's like year round. That's not just like a specific thing. You can just do that at any time. So
yep.
Love to see initiatives like this from for both Sony and Xbox. So, yay. Moving on to video game adjacent news, because I have a bunch of TV and movie quick bites for us to share. Sadly, The Last of Us show is not expected until 2023. So those who are anxiously anticipating it will have to wait a bit longer to see Joel and Ellie on the small screen.
Pedro
Real big
Pascal
bummer.
did say recently, though, that he's very confident that fans and new fans, or new watchers, I should say, are going to really enjoy this. He has a lot of faith in the project, so that excites me. Just a little quick soundbite that they got earlier this week, I think, before this news dropped. So I'm excited to see what they do with it in 2023. Unfortunately, we have to wait until, but still very excited.
I'm sure.
What you don't have to wait for. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I was just gonna say I'm sure that this series will get picked up for a season 2 before it even launches. Kind of like something else.
I was not going to segue into that, Dan. I
Oh.
appreciate it, though. that would have been beautiful if it was.
All right.
But speaking of Joel and Ellie, if you are wanting to see them in some shape, PlayStation Productions launched their animation kind of intro that plays before their titles. If you go watch the Uncharted movie, that plays beforehand, and you get characters like Aloy. I think Kratos is in there, Astrobot. And then sneaked in there is also Pedro Pascal as Joel and Bella Ramsey as Ellie.
That is so cool.
Actually, I
it.
think it was them, or it wasn't clear if it was Joel and Ellie from the game. Or if
I
it
think
was,
it's from the game. Yeah, I think a lot of people are
Okay.
thinking it's the remaster, the Part 1 remaster models.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
If somebody shared like a super zoom, and like Joel looks like it might be Pedro Pascal, but if you zoom in on Ellie, it's very clearly
She's younger.
the video game one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Are we talking about the animation, right?
the new intro for the PlayStation
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's the characters from the game. I don't think that's.
Yes.
If you keep
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
if you keep going
Oh,
to a different one, there's like a different screen, I think.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And
So
like,
they're in it twice. There's the
Oh,
game one, and
gotcha,
then
gotcha.
I think later on.
Oh, okay.
okay, I have to rewatch it. But either way, I think this is so cool that this is playing in front of Uncharted, like in theaters. Like when you go in to see the Tom Holland movie, you're seeing the video game characters that it's based off of. I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And that movie's getting actually pretty decent reviews right now.
You don't have to lie,
Uncharted.
Dan.
No,
You know,
didn't I see? I thought I saw some.
it was like rotten.
Oh,
I think it's
is
sitting
it?
at like 41%. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, for Rotten Tomatoes, there's worse stuff.
6.8 on IMDb, 39 on Rotten Tomatoes, 47 Metacritic. So
Okay.
you know what? It's whatever.
That's a good pitch, Dan. You know what? There are worse movies out there. Go see Uncharted in theaters.
I don't
Have a
know.
little bit of fun.
To be fair, I actually only saw the IGN review that was a 7 out of 10. So I was like, all right, it's a decent movie, but I guess I should have looked further into it.
Very good. Speaking, who knows if Last of Us will get
Speaking of lackluster
season
scores,
2. I'm trying to segue back into Dan's segue. So moving on. Halo TV show on Paramount has been renewed for season 2 before season 1 has even come out. A lot of faith in the Halo TV show from Paramount Plus.
So good.
do we know if they're dropping the whole season at once or if this is going to be a weekly thing?
I don't think they've said, but
Paramount usually does weekly
Yeah.
from previous shows.
Okay.
I would bet weekly, yeah.
And
But
do we know how many episodes a season? They haven't said.
no.
Okay.
I'm very happy about this. However, I will say this isn't necessarily indicative of the quality of the show because like a lot of people said that, but like I guess I even said it, but after thinking about it, I was like, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It means like yes, they are devoted to it, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to do well because like they've already invested all this money in creating props and the building all the sets and everything. I'm sure that all that shit costs a lot of money, so they would be able to reuse that stuff in season 2 and I don't know, but I'm still optimistic that it's going to be very good.
We'll have to see how that shakes out because apparently neither of the showrunners are coming back. So
Which
it'll be
there is a good reason for that, but yes, it is troubling to see like who's gonna replace them.
Get Neil Blomkamp. Do it.
Oh my god. If Neil Blomkamp was like heading this, I'd be all over it.
He was the
Dude, have you seen his short he did for Halo 3?
Yeah.
It's like a 9-minute short film that he did for Halo 3, and it still holds up to this day because I mean his visual effects team is nuts. I highly recommend you watch that after this. It's called Landfall on YouTube. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like what, 8 minutes, something like
Yeah.
that.
It's really good.
He was originally brought on to do the Halo movie, but then it got canceled, and then Landfall ended up being, basically the pieces of that project that he basically put together.
He's been vocal throughout the years. He wants to do it. He loves Halo, and honestly, his style of movies, whether you like them or not, it's a perfect fit for Halo.
Yeah.
And that short film, it totally nails the tone. I would love if they got him, but I don't think they would.
I just found it in 4K, so I'll be watching that later.
It's worth it.
More video game movie news. Sonic and Knuckles. I don't know why I wrote that. Sonic the Hedgehog the movie 3 is officially in development. And additionally, next year, a new Knuckles series is coming to Paramount Plus with Idris Elba reprising his role as the sexy voiced Knuckles.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. That's crazy. I can't believe there's a third movie coming out before the second one has even released. But that's awesome that they're already in production, or not. I don't know if they're already in production, but it's awesome that they are making a third one, which is so crazy as to where this all began with that terrible CGI of Sonic, and then awful, just really bad. But they were able to turn it around, and what's up, Christian?
No, keep going. I'll ask after.
No, I'm just excited. I'm happy that this is happening. Idris Elba as Knuckles, Paramount Plus solo TV show. I'm excited for it. But I have no idea what the heck that's going to be about. But I'm excited for it.
What are the odds Rouge the Bat shows up?
Oh, please,
in
God.
the Knuckles TV series? Are you kidding me?
That would be awesome. Now I know what it's going to be about. That would be awesome.
It is pretty cool that they were able to lock in Idris Elba because aside from Luther, I don't think he does a lot of TV series. I don't think he's done a whole lot.
No. He did. No. The last one I remember is one that he did for Netflix, that DJ one. I don't know if that was very good, but that's the most recent one that I did. But I guess that's not technically even TV. That's like, I don't know, streaming's different, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot of TV stuff. So that's
I'll do anything for the El Bussy, as we call it.
Well, that is it for our quick bites.
I guess we're all subscribing to Paramount Plus now with all the awesome stuff they got coming.
We don't know if it's awesome yet. Well, let's pump the brakes on the awesome, Dan. We gotta wait and see.
Hey, I'm declaring it now. All of it's awesome.
You should declare this ratio. Am I right, fellas? Moving on to our news of the week.
Wait, did you miss your Destiny news?
Oh, I did. I have 2 documents open.
Okay.
Yes, some Destiny news. I saw this just scroll across my page on Twitter earlier, and I wanted to ask Ro about this, and I figured it'd be nice just to introduce it as a quick bite segment. And I'm totally not stalling for time as I pull up the actual information that I saw. Over on Destiny in preparation for Witch Queen coming out, there was a small kind of title that comes across your screen when you launch the game, and it kind of tells you about all the stuff that's coming in the Witch Queen expansion. And at the bottom at the launch, it tells you the stuff that they're taking out. Included in that is the Tangled Shore and the Forsaken campaign. Ro, how do you feel about Bungie sort of taking away stuff that people have paid for? I know it's older content, like way older content, like 3 or 4 years ago, stuff that I haven't touched forever. But how do you feel about just like paid content being taken away?
No, it sucks. It's not it sucks. I don't like it. A lot of the community doesn't like it either. I think a lot of us kind of understand where the game is at right now, where they kind of have to remove that kind of stuff if they want to keep adding new stuff to it, just to make space, and that we don't have like a 500 gigabyte game on our computer. So to that extent, I understand it, but it's a weird situation where sure they want to add to the game and make it better by giving us new content, but to give us the new content, they have to take away stuff that we paid for and that we didn't know was going away in the first place. That's why we bought it, so we would have it to play potentially forever.
Yeah.
But I do get it because it is a live service game. So once you're done with that content, you usually don't go back to it, especially if it's story based stuff. But events and um, I'm trying to think activities like I'm not sure if one of the activities was there, but like for an example, um, the menagerie, which was a really cool one. They've replaced it since with other activities that are similar, but people really like that activity. They paid for it. Now they can't play it anymore. Um, to an extent, I understand it, and because it is outdated stuff. Like you don't even want to play this stuff, but the fact that it's being taken away from you is kind of the messed up part.
And this isn't a defense of it or anything, but it has been, they have been doing this for a long time. So like this isn't anything, new that they're just starting now. They have always kind of had that revolving door of content that they just kind of replace and, move forward.
Yeah. Once it gets to a point where the stuff that they're replacing with it is better than the stuff that they're taking away, I think I'll be more okay with it. But as of right now, they're taking away a lot more than they have been giving us. I think that's going to change now with the new expansion, hopefully. But when they started doing this, they were taking away a lot more than they were giving. So hopefully that changes soon.
Bro, are you going to be on next week's podcast?
I hope so. Yeah.
You have time to be pulled away from Witch Queen?
Oh God, that's
coming out on Tuesday.
Point. That is a good point. I hope I'll even get a chance to play Witch Queen on Tuesday with school and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to get like all of my homework done because the following week I think is reading week. So I'm hoping I get all my homework out of the way, just play Witch Queen during that week. But yeah,
I'll help
I'm
you
excited.
study. Moving on to our big news items of the week. A new report on RE4 remake was unveiled earlier in the week. I'm reading over here from Nibel, kind of the quick bullet points. Nibel over on Twitter. The opening village scene, as well as a decent portion of Resident Evil 4 remake, now takes place at night. Reportedly, it will be a lot scarier. Side characters will have bigger roles. Ada Wong's campaign will be expanded. And we're looking at a possible early 2022 reveal for RE4 remake. All of this and more comes from the report on Fanbyte, written up by the one and only Imran Khan. I know Ro isn't into scary games.
I do like Ada Wong, though.
Yeah, don't we all? With the original RE4 being kind of more like campy, more like psychological than like actual horror. With this one seeming to be leaning more into like that horror aesthetic akin to like RE2 remake and things like, of course, your Dead Spaces and the like. Are you guys interested in a scarier version of RE4? Have any of you guys played the original RE4 at all?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm interested in a scarier RE4. It's kind of upsetting to see them go to the nighttime thing because it seems like that's a really easy, just like, oh, let's make it scarier. So let's just make the player not be able to see anything. And I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia, but like I totally associate RE4 with that sort of palette that it had, that yellow brown sort of like drab, almost Fallout-esque sort of vibe it had, especially in the village. So it is upsetting to see them just go like, oh, we want it to be scarier, so therefore let's just make it dark. Like, I don't know. I feel like you could have done that. Maybe add a bunch of foliage, and I feel like there's other ways you could have done that. But I am excited for the reworked characters and kind of grounding things a little bit. But if we're being honest, as much as RE4 is the campy Resident Evil, they're all really campy. They're all you know what I mean? I'm not really putting much stakes in that. But I'm very excited for RE4 remake because Resident Evil 2 remake was awesome. Resident Evil 3 remake had some problems, but still played really well. So I'm excited.
I think,
and the games look great too.
Oh, they look fantastic.
I think that's the part I'm most excited about is the gameplay aspect of the RE4 remake because, like you said, the 2 and 3 remakes play fantastically. So I'm very excited to see this. And RE4 is my favorite Resident Evil game. Like, maybe Village. Like Village was so good that it's made me think about that. But yeah, RE4 is so good. But I do remember I went back recently to play RE4 and I was like, all right, this doesn't quite hold up as well as I remember, but like, that's what happens, I guess, with age. Things get less good over time. But yeah, I'm very excited. More scary.
Question for you, Dan, and Engage as well. So I never beat Resident Evil 4 as a kid because I was scared. And then I never beat Resident Evil 4 as an adult because popping that thing on Oculus is like a lot to have to play that game in VR, even though it's fun. I'm thinking about buying it on Steam and then getting like the free mod that someone put out, the RE4 HD kind of upgrade. You think I should do that before RE4 Remake comes out? Play the original? I feel like I should.
Personally, I would say no, but that's just me personally. Like I always am of the mindset like I'll give you an example. Like Dying Light 2 just came out, and I jumped right into Dying Light 2. I hadn't played Dying Light 1 for like many years because that game came out a long time ago. And I thought about jumping back in, but then I was like, all right, I have this thing in my brain where I can't go back and play something that, came out previously in a franchise and then play the sequel like right after, because it just like, it gives me like this franchise fatigue or whatever. Like it's a weird thing that I'm just like, I've already got my fill of this. I don't need more of it. So I'd rather just jump into, the new thing. But you may be different. I absolutely loved RE4 back in the day, so it's a great game. That probably doesn't help you, but
so I would give you the opposite perspective, which is that if you don't play it before RE4 Remake comes out, you probably won't, because if you play it at like similar to what Dan's saying, like I personally do like to jump in and play originals before remakes come out, just to sort of like get that taste of what it was, and then it's more impressive to see the new version. But I think if you play RE4 Remake and the improvements they're going to make, I don't think you'll realistically you'll go back, because then you're playing the same game with less improvements. So if you did want to play Resident Evil 4, I would recommend doing what you were saying, is that get it on Steam, get that mod, and play through it then, because it's going to be rough to go back once you've played it in the remake.
I guess the question is, do you want to play it twice, or do you want to have,
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I wouldn't mind if as long as I was able to finish RE4 original this year, and then this game comes out time later next year. I think that's enough spacing in between.
Right.
So
it's not a very long game either. It's not that long.
You'll hear just a lot of Leon, help me.
God, Leon's so cool.
What
else is cool? Oh,
sorry.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask: would this be the game that Capcom is teasing, like an RE4 remake?
I would guess so.
There's a lot of people pointing to Street Fighter, I think, as well.
Has been a while since we got a Street Fighter, so maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on it being RE4 remake, particularly because we got like details of the game, like at the same time. But I feel like that's going to be a little bit later. I legit don't know what to expect for Capcom.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think RE2 or RE4 remake is coming this year, so I don't think they would show it this early. But maybe they'll surprise us.
Speaking of things coming out maybe this year, that was a terrible segue. Call of Duty time. Call of Duty confirms it's 2022. That was one too many 20s. It's 2022. Title will be a sequel to the 2019 Modern Warfare campaign. It is being some interesting points here. It is being designed with a new Warzone experience as well as a new engine. 2019's Modern Warfare already had a new engine that they worked on. They're building a brand new engine for this iteration of Call of Duty. So that is, I don't know if you guys are big into COD or the Modern. Yes, thank you. Heck yeah, Modern Warfare. Oh, that's a question. Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your intro and then I'll go.
I don't know, man. I like Modern Warfare Remake had its issues. It wasn't a perfect game. I don't think it goes deeply enough into like what it's trying to meditate or interrogate about, like the gray area of war. Like that stuff is very much imperfect. But the actual gameplay and the way like the graphics in the game, it was, I thought, like so fantastic. I loved like playing that game. That finally getting confirmation that it is Modern Warfare 2 as we expected. Like really has me excited.
Yes, I loved Modern Warfare Remake. I have not been hot on Call of Duty for a long time. I probably stopped buying them around like Ghost Advanced Warfare, and then 3 or 4 years later, that's when Modern Warfare came out, and it was the new engine that sold me, because finally it was a real new engine. So I want to say that, and Dan and I were actually talking about this a month ago or a couple weeks ago, where people like to say this. It's almost certainly not a brand new engine. I know that that's what the article says, and I know that's what they're claiming. It's almost certainly an updated version of the new one that was used for Modern Warfare. We'll call it Engine 2, because when Black Ops came out, IGN, Game Informer, all these places were saying that Black Ops was made on a brand new engine, but it wasn't. It was just an updated version of their Engine 1. So it's almost certainly Engine 2, which is the Modern Warfare engine. And it's going to look gorgeous because that game looks just incredibly beautiful. And I agree with you. The story, it's really grounded for Call of Duty, but it is still it has that Call of Duty campiness to it, right? But I loved it. I was hooked. The new characters were great. Farah was awesome.
Yes.
And I'm hoping they bring her back. I doubt they will. But I know that the actress was she was all about it. She loved it. And so I hope that they bring her back in some way. But I would recommend, if anybody wants to know more about this, follow Tom Henderson on Twitter, because he is a Call of Duty insider, and he leaked all this stuff that was just announced today 6 months ago. So this guy specifically about Call of Duty has his sources, and he's got some really cool details about this game and where it's going to take place. That's going to be pretty interesting.
And this is another thing with nostalgia glasses for me. The original Modern Warfare, I just think so highly of it, and then I go back and play it, and I'm like, wow, this doesn't really hold up as well as I remember.
Get out of here! That game still rocks, man. Get out of here.
My problem with that game is it's very short, for one, and for two, it's very shallow in my opinion. The story is very shallow. There's not a lot of depth to it. There's absolutely amazing set pieces in that game. Yes, all gillied up, phenomenal. The characters are fantastic, but it's like the story is very simplistic in that game, which isn't a bad thing, I guess. It's just it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't even hold a cake to, I don't know if that's the right word, cake to the Modern Warfare reboot. Yeah,
no, I agree with you, and it's funny because a couple years ago, I decided to replay Modern Warfare 2, and I remember as a kid, you love those characters, and you're like, oh, what? Spoiler alert for a game that's over a decade old. When Ghost dies, and you're like, no, Ghost is dead. I went and replayed it. His entire personality is that he has a cool mask.
Yeah.
These games are super shallow. You're not wrong. Ghost.
That's enough.
Ghost he's got a great voice actor. I could listen to that man talk all day long, but his only personality is that he's got a cool balaclava on. That's it. And same with the first game. Those gameplay wise, they are absolutely titans. All gillied up. Some of those missions were just perfect game design. But yeah, story wise, it's not great. It's a Michael Bay video game. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's a pretty apt analogy. I respect that. Moving on, we got some news today. Witcher 3 game director Konrad Tomaskiewicz. I hope I know.
That was amazing if you got that. That was great.
Yeah. Unveils new studio called Rebel Wolves. Its first game will be a AAA story-driven RPG built in Unreal Engine 5, which is great. Some quotes here for you, which I thought was hilarious. Very, very humble team over here. Rebel Wolves is working on its debut game, which, as Tomaskiewicz tells GameIndustry.biz, aims to become, quote, the holy grail of computer RPGs, unquote. I was very excited until I read that one quote, and I was like, you know what? I've been burnt by CD Projekt Red's devs before on overpromising, so let's be a little trepidatious here with Rebel Wolves. But are you guys excited for a new game by the studios from the devs that used to be working at CD Projekt?
Absolutely. The hype train has left the station.
We're seeing a lot of new studios pop up recently, so that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the names, they've got the talent, but will they deliver? We shall see. I'm not super hyped because I never got into The Witcher. Cyberpunk, that didn't work out. Maybe we'll talk about it on the topic of the show. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they make. I agree with Christian where we've been promised these things a lot, and with all these new studios popping up, it's happening more often. But we have to wait and see until they actually show us a trailer or a game. But yeah, this is exciting for them, good for them, starting their own thing, being able to do what they want to do with their own creative vision, all that kind of stuff. So that's good. That in itself is good.
I will say, like, CD Projekt, before they went multi-platform, they were well regarded as like a really great PC developer. So like Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 were great experiences, and obviously later Witcher 2 got ported to consoles. So like if they do indeed stick to just PC, at least for now, then I might have a little bit more confidence. But yeah, saying the holy grail of RPGs right out of the bat, I don't know that you can say that before you've even put anything out yet. Maybe wait a little bit, but yeah, I'm still interested to see what they do.
I will say, just as from the outside looking in, one thing that I really enjoyed reading on this little thread, with with Witcher 3, which I love, Witcher 3 by the way, and then Cyberpunk, like obviously a big criticism was like their depiction, or I guess that lack thereof, of people of color. Like they're just kind of non-existent in these worlds. Rebel Wolves plans to grow above 80 employees over the next few years and wants to make diversity a priority. I thought that was very awesome to read. Love seeing stuff like this, just on the team building level. And then they also commented on NFTs, saying that it's very simple. We won't have them in our games ever.
Love to see it.
So
yeah,
they get it at some point.
It's a very exciting time. Like Rashan mentioned, we're seeing all these studios pop up. It's very exciting to me because what you're seeing is a lot of experienced sort of people that like team leads and all this stuff that are leaving these big publishers to go independent, which means that you're getting the raw talent that these people have, the experience that these people have, except they don't want the overhead. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of studios like That's No Moon, which is made from, actually, funny enough, from the narrative lead of Call of Duty Modern Warfare reboot. So I'm excited for that reason. Like I love the idea of these really sort of experienced and expert developers taking their resources and their manpower and going to do something without the corporate oversight, because I think we're going to get a lot more interesting and games that actually take risks. So that part alone has me excited, and the fact that Witcher 3 is one of the most impressive games I've ever played in my life. So
yeah, if there was if I know that took me out too. Like we'll get to it a little bit later in the topic of the show, but like one of the big proponents of why Cyberpunk was set up to fail was that like there was a lot of kind of involvement from the upper heads of CD Projekt, kind of like making changes and demanding X, Y, and Z, and that kind of led to like a troubled development. So yeah, we'll wait and see how Rebel Wolves shapes out with their whatever they end up working on. Obviously their next RPG, or their first RPG, but until then, you thought we were done with movie news. We weren't. Netflix announces a new movie adaptation, this time of BioShock. Would you kindly stay tuned, says Netflix Geeked. Epic reference. You guys excited for this?
Hell yeah.
I need to play BioShock first, but yes.
Oh my god, you need to play BioShock right now.
I'm going to go look for it on Steam. How much is it?
Wait a minute. Wait, Christian, what?
Bro, I thought the game, like when it came out, I played it once, and then I played it again like 2 or 3 years later, and I was like, man, this feels dated like at that time already.
Damn.
Wow.
I haven't played the original, only Infinite. But wow.
BioShock Remastered is $5. I feel like it's probably worth the price.
Ro, I don't listen to Christian. You should totally play it as well. It is amazing.
What? This is ironic considering the game takes place underwater. What a shallow game. What a shallow game.
What? Dan, you don't have to convince me, because I've heard from enough people that it is worth playing. So I'm gonna get BioShock Remastered right now. Is the sequel good as well, or do I just get the first one?
Don't play BioShock 2. Play BioShock 1 and then Infinite.
Yeah, you don't have to play BioShock 2. Okay. I'm not as big on BioShock 2. The DLC for BioShock 2 is pretty good, but yeah, you could skip 2. But my gosh, I can't believe this, Christian. I'm just no, I can't.
I'm gonna place a bet. I said Ro. Ro's not even arguing one way or another. I'm gonna make a bet, Dan.
Okay.
I will bet that Gage doesn't really care about BioShock either.
Okay.
Okay, I'll
Interesting.
make that bet. All right.
All right. I will give you next week. I will give you
Oh,
my
hold up.
feedback.
He will like the narrative. He will not like the gameplay. Is
Okay,
like my-
but
Okay.
at this point, the game is from 2007, so of course the gameplay is
I'm-
not going to be phenomenal.
Although-
that's fair.
No.
That's
But
fair.
to be
I mean-
fair, I am playing it on PC, and games usually age better because the mouse and keyboard for aiming, especially for first-person shooters,
yeah,
the gameplay will still feel really good, right? It's not going to have the controller jank or weird acceleration that some like old games on console have.
yeah.
So to be fair, gameplay I could still really like. We'll see.
Okay.
Ignore my caveat then. Just straight up, he won't like it. How about
Okay.
that, Dan? For the sake.
Narrative.
Simplicity.
Now I'm excited. We'll have something to talk about next week. This is exciting.
Yes,
Amazing.
bro, you play it as well.
No.
Will you at least watch the movie adaptation?
I will watch the movie because I'm not going to play the game. I'll get the story from there. I've heard great things, despite what Christian is saying here. I've heard good things about the game, so I think it's awesome that it's finally getting or maybe not finally, but I'm glad that it's getting a adaptation on the silver screen. That's really cool. More of that, please. More animated versions of these things too.
There we go.
I'm
Now
okay
we're
with the
talking.
live action. I'm okay with the live action stuff, but give me more animated stuff of these video games.
Yeah.
Video games. They should be animated. You have so much more freedom and creativity with if it is animated. Yeah.
One incredibly base take from Ro. Let's see if he has any more base takes on this next news item. Nintendo to close its Wii U and 3DS eShops. Not this year, but next year, very soon. In late March 2023, it will no longer be possible to make purchases on your Wii U or the Nintendo 3DS family systems, which very much sucks for a multitude of reasons. But one is just game preservation. There are a bunch of titles that are not available to buy anywhere else, and those titles will just be gone.
Boo.
Another incredibly anti-consumer move from Nintendo, and it sucks. Like I know I don't want to go too hard on them because I know Rashan, you absolutely love them, and a lot of people really love Nintendo. But this isn't anything new. They've been extremely anti-consumer for like the past 3 years, like blatantly. So it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it is true. I love Nintendo, but I have absolutely no problem criticizing them when they do something stupid, which is unfortunately very often these days. I don't know if we're going to talk about it later, but they did a weird thing with their closed. It's not even closed. It's a public beta for the sports game, the Wii Sports Switch game that they're doing, and they're like, "Don't talk about it. You could play it, but if you go on Twitter and you
keep your
talk
mouth
about it."
shut.
Hold that, Ro, because that is the next item. But
That
I
is
wanted
okay.
to,
Okay, sorry.
yeah.
But just to talk
Mhm.
about the Wii U and the 3DS stuff, then it's sad. Sony did something similar with the PS Vita, and they backtracked it. Nintendo's not going to backtrack it. They're not the company that would listen to you and your complaints, and it's like, oh, okay, you're making some good points here. Here are the good points, and then just keep going with what they're doing. Unfortunately, you still have time to get these games, but it sucks that that there's a time limit, obviously. That there's a countdown on how long I have to purchase these games. Of course, people don't want to be spending their money up until 2023 on games that they thought they would have for at least a little bit longer. So that's upsetting. And these games are going to spike up in price, and Nintendo's going to get mad at the people who are emulating these games because they can't get it anywhere else. So what do you expect them to do?
Yeah, that's their fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay mad, Nintendo.
Exactly.
And
Sorry, go ahead, Dan. Dan's ramping up. Go ahead, Dan.
You're good. I was just gonna say, like, the whole problem is like Nintendo hasn't given people another option to play these games. Like, if you were taking this stuff away and you gave people emulation on Switch that Wii U had, because Wii U had phenomenal support, like for legacy games, like it supported every single Wii game, for instance. It supported all the virtual console stuff, that it had so much stuff in there. Like, if they were doing that on Switch, this would not be a big deal that they're closing down shops. But yeah, it's not great.
I just one more thing. For the inevitable day when the Switch is the older console and it's the 3DS of whatever year that we are in the future, it's even worse because it's tied to an online subscription. It's not even on the eShop.
Yes.
It's like you have to buy the online subscription to get the games. It's even worse somehow. But yeah, I guess that's a topic we'll talk about when we get there 30 years down the line. But yeah, that it's even worse somehow now after all that they've not learned, I guess. But sorry, Christian, what were you going to say?
Well, two things. Like one is just a kind of point you made earlier. Like I remember when they did the first kind of weird thing that I can think of, which was releasing the Mario 3D Superstar pack with
Right.
64 Sunshine and Galaxy. I thought it was so weird that like it was a limited time thing that you only have until like this month to buy it. That I decided just to like pay vote with my wallet, so to speak, and not buy it. I'm very proud of myself. Still have not bought it. So, yay me, I guess. But number two, on the Q&A page of this article on Nintendo of America's website, there's a question that Nintendo has since deleted from that Q&A. That was very funny. Nintendo, had like the little Q&A FAQ kind of section. It says, once it is no longer possible to purchase software in Nintendo eShop on Wii U and Nintendo 3DS family systems, many classic games for past platforms will cease to be available for purchase anywhere. Will you make classic games available to own some other way? If not, then why? Doesn't Nintendo have an obligation to preserve its classic games by continually making them available for purchase? They answered, we currently have no plans to offer classic content in other ways. Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you for typing this up, Nintendo, just to say sorry.
I love how the question is more detailed than the answer. It's like, why even bother even writing all of this?
They obviously are self-aware to know like that's something that people would be upset about, that they wrote that long ass question, but they can't fix the problem apparently. Like, oh
my God, impressive, honestly. and I'm not, once again, I'm not trying to defend Nintendo, and what Gage said about them not being consumer friendly is true, but just off of the heels of their Mario 8 thing, where they're like, if you play it online and your friend has it or something like that, you can still play these tracks. It's like, you don't have to buy it. It's like, oh, wow, this is great. Wow, great job, Nintendo. Not even a week later, they're doing this nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll introduce what Ro mentioned earlier too. The whole Switch, the online playtest for Switch Sports. If you sign up for it, you'll be able to play it during. I thought it was the whole weekend. I totally forgot how these trials work for these playtests work for Nintendo. You can only play for like 45 minutes at a time at 4 specific time blocks at very very different hours of the day. I forget. I didn't write down the actual time. So if you want to look that up, you'll have to go to Nintendo's website. Otherwise, what Ro was talking about in the disclaimer when you sign up for the playtest for Switch Sports, and down in the fine print there, it reads, by registering to participate in the online playtest, you agree not to share information about the online playtest publicly, including the sharing of screenshots or other video footage from the game on social media, which is a very weird thing to do. Like, obviously, I think a lot of people are going to sign up for this and want to talk about it because it's free press, obviously. Like, unless they're nervous that like this stuff isn't working and they don't want people to talk about it. But yeah, like I can't share my screenshots or videos that I may or may not take or talk about on a podcast. Is that I don't know. Like, what a weird thing to do when it's accessible to so many people. I don't know.
Yeah, it's super weird, and you literally can't take screenshots. By the way, at least with the Switch feature, it doesn't allow you to. If you press the button, it's like, no, you can't do that. You don't try and be sneaky with us, little guy. But the times are 7 to 7:45 on Friday the 18th, and then 3 times on February 19th, 3 to 3:45, 11 to 11:45, and 7 to 7:45, and then on Sunday you get once. Again, 3 to 3:45 a.m.
Wow.
Pacific time, which is an interesting choice, but okay. But yeah, it's such a weird decision to not let us share our thoughts and opinions on the public. This isn't like a closed. I mean, technically it's closed because you have to sign up, but at the same time, it wasn't a direct, and everybody knows about it. It's not a secret that they're doing this. You would think that they would want our feedback, but I guess not after they deleted the question on the other topic that we're talking about. I guess they really don't care. But it's just so weird. Like, what's going to happen if you do? Like, what are they going to do if we do share a screenshot, if somebody streams
Right?
this, or like what's going to happen if you do? Like, I don't understand how they're going to crack down on this, because people are going to talk about this. What do they think they can
I'll
crack
talk
down?
about it.
Absolutely, yeah. People are going to talk about this.
I can't wait to see people
yeah.
offhandedly record the footage. Like that's
Right.
gonna be great.
Bro,
There's going to be so
again,
many work around.
OBS.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I forgot. I had another thought, but I
sorry,
lost
Ro.
it. No, it's okay. It's okay. It'll come back to me eventually. Yeah.
Bring it up anytime. Until then, guys, what you been playing this week? Dan.
Yes. In theme of our topic of the show, I played Cyberpunk 2077 for about 40 minutes. I got through the character creator again and spent about like way too much time in that character creator once again, and then spent about
Bringing that
5
dong
minutes.
around?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then spent 5 minutes in the game, and then I was like, all right, time to go to bed. This was last night. So, yeah, I didn't really get enough into it, but the performance boost alone, 60 FPS playing at that instead of 30 is so much better. Like, it's night and day difference in terms of that. So I think I'm going to give it a shot, but it's kind of time limited right now because when Horizon comes out, I'm going to be playing that. So
Oh, you're playing Horizon.
yes,
You pick it up.
yes, absolutely. Yep. That's it.
Gage.
I have been playing Dying Light 2 still, and it's still pretty good. Fun time. Having fun with it. And Back for Blood. Still on that Back for Blood grind. Trying to beat the game on Nightmare difficulty. Very difficult. But having a good time nonetheless.
Awesome. I realized I went off the script here on the doc because I was looking at Discord. So I was going down the Discord and not the actual document. So Ro, I apologize. I skipped you.
No,
And
that's
I'm
okay.
gonna skip you again because I'm going
Fair
going down the
Damn.
Discord camera. We'll save you for last, okay?
enough.
First of all, I don't know why you guys get so mad when I don't write what game I'm playing in the document. You know,
It's
I
the
want it to be a
intent.
To be a-
surprise.
I
It's
like
the
it being a
intent.
surprise.
That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
But-
I have not. What?
Unless we look at your Discord activity and then we're like, oh, playing that.
See, that's weird though because I also watch my friends play games via the screen share app, and it says I'm playing it even though I'm just watching. So it gets weird. Yeah. Little caveat. No, I have still only been playing Sifu. I want it I told myself I was never gonna beat it to get the trophy under by beating it under the age of 25, and then I ended up platinuming the game because I couldn't get enough of it. So
Nice.
and it's still an extremely difficult trophy, or I guess game to complete. And I did it, so I was very proud of myself. Took a selfie of me in front of my platinum trophy.
I saw it.
Posted
Flexing.
on Twitter. Yeah,
Literally
Felt-
flexing.
it felt so good, dude. You have no idea, but I'm happy to be done. I have now become the Sifu, and I guided my friend into beating Hit for the true ending, and he got it today. He was able to do it, so I'm very very proud of him. So
Nice.
maybe Dan should
Is-
give it a shot.
Now I
Is
feel like...
there
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
is there a way? So the way I understand it is that every time you die, it adds 1 year to your life.
It's exponential. So if you
Oh,
die
okay.
again, it's 2, then 3. But there are ways to decrease that death count.
That's
You
what I was
can
gonna
go down
ask.
to
So I
zero.
was like, so in my mind, I was like, does that mean you beat the game without dying 5 times, and there's no way to decrease it? But you can get your life back
Yeah.
in some way.
I
Okay,
only died 3 times. I beat it as a 23-year-old.
So
that's hot.
sometimes when I'm scrolling Twitter, I don't read things because I have so much content on my Twitter feed that I just keep scrolling. So I scrolled yours, and I legit thought that your post of platinuming Sifu was a post of you saying got new Tinder pics or something, because I literally just saw your
You just
flexes,
assumed.
and I'm like, all right, Christian's getting more Tinder pics, but I didn't realize you had your PlayStation trophies in the background, so that's funny. Sorry.
This guy doesn't read. He just looks at the images and oh, hell yeah.
I did, yeah. Sorry.
I love it. Okay. Yeah, give Sifu a try, Dan. You would hate it.
I would hate it.
Uh,
Broken controllers everywhere. I mean,
Bro, what have you been playing?
Just to finish my thought earlier about the Nintendo things, it's not even that big, but I would just it would mess me up if I just didn't say it. But it just doesn't make even more sense as to why they would not let us talk about it. Like if they're not confident in the game, like why let us play it in anyway? You know, like I really don't understand what the mindset is behind this. It doesn't make sense. But anyways, Ace Attorney. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is the game that I'm playing right now. And if we're talking about people that are preserving their games well, Capcom is not doing half bad because Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is literally everywhere. The HD trilogy is like you can find it anywhere, and that goes for a lot of their Street Fighter games, and I guess Resident Evil is pretty easy to find on modern consoles as well. So good for them. But I wanted to try Ace Attorney because I had the sequel for a while now, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on Steam. Because I got that on sale. I was searching up online all the time. I was like, is this a good place to start? And everybody said yes, but they would always end with, but you should start with the first games if you can. Like, I really want to play this game, but I want to start with the original. So I started with the original, and I'm having a blast. It's a visual novel, but with little puzzles sprinkled in between, some really fun cast of characters. So you're a lawyer, obviously, Phoenix Wright. You're just trying to find out who the criminal is in each case. So they're broken up into episodes, and yeah, it's a really cool, fun time. I'm enjoying it. I didn't know what else to say besides it's a fun little story, solving little mysteries. It's cute. I like it. Yeah.
My only touchdown to Ace Attorney is the Ace Attorney bot on Twitter, who if you
Oh,
ask to render it,
yeah.
will render entire threads.
Twitter
into
threads,
an Ace
yeah.
Attorney. Yeah. So
It's great.
I'm glad you're liking it though. Like it looks like a cool game.
It is fun. The writing is really. It has to have good writing. It's a visual novel, so I'm glad that it's a fun read as well. So having a good time.
Do you think, Dan, you'd be good at Ace Attorney? I know you said that your detective work in LA Noire wasn't that great.
Yeah, probably not. I'd probably fail miserably. I would definitely need somebody directing me. Like, you go there and say this, and yeah, not good at LA Noire at all.
You know what else is good? Maybe? Who knows? It's our topic of the show, Cyberpunk 2077. Is it too late for the game to make its comeback? AKA more like Cyber Stink, am I right? I'm joking. I don't know. Guys, of course, the big news broke out this week. This kind of was like launching somewhere in the middle of the day, like Monday, and it was supposed to be like releasing soon. Like, oh, stay tuned for tomorrow morning. We're gonna have some news. And then throughout the course of the day, the Xbox store was like showing the Series X/S logo in the corner of Cyberpunk, being like, oh, is next gen update here? Indeed, it is. Cyberpunk 2077 launched its 1.5 patch as well as next gen upgrades yesterday. It's up now. You can download those and get started on Cyberpunk 2077. Again, I shared a list of huge patches. I'll read through some of them because it is kind of substantial. For next gen exclusives, you are getting some ray traced local light shadows, and 2 graphic modes on PS5 that you get fidelity mode and performance mode. I would probably recommend frame rate, to be honest, if you're playing Cyberpunk.
Yes.
Implementations of achievements and trophies and the like. And then there's more notes here on Xbox stuff. There's a lot there. I don't know. Dan, are you playing on Xbox or PlayStation? I didn't even ask.
Series X. So yeah, that is interesting that the Series S version is only 30 FPS. I just saw that they only have one mode for Series S. That's not good for Series S.
But it is 1440p, so
yeah,
a little bit of an improvement there.
True.
Lots of stuff there. But honestly, for me, where did I paste it in? Maybe I didn't paste it into. I might have pasted it into my other documents. I apologize. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Oh no, it's down there. On point number 3, you can see a list of system overhauls, which I think is actually where the update is truly shining. It's some updates on like what's actually happening for the immersion of the RPG itself. There's tons of stuff there. I'm not going to read all of them, but small stuff like enemy AI has been overhauled. So like first of all, there's crowds now in actual Night City, and they'll act differently towards you. They don't just duck away when you're driving by them. If you interact with them, they can pull out a gun, they can get mad at you, they can run away, they can do all sorts of things. There's a lot of changes for skill trees and different just upgrades altogether for perks. They introduced apartments, also even like police chases, which people like felt like the city was dead, that the cops don't respond to you. There are police chases now, depending on if you're committing crimes over in Night City. There are tons of actual fixes and kind of improvements that seem to like actually be living up to what like Cyberpunk was supposed to be when it was first initially launching. The actual promise of being an actual meaty, immersive RPG. So the first question I have for you guys now is, did this even release at a good time? It's launching right before Horizon Zero Dawn, right before Elden Ring, right before Total Warhammer 3. Yeah, was it a good time to stealth drop this game, or is any time a good time to stealth drop this? Because it just kind of came out of nowhere. People were expecting it to happen soon at some point, and it's kind of here it is, middle of February. Have at it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not an optimal time to capture new players because, like you said, this is an extremely crowded month. To me, though, this screams player retention. So I think this update, more so than anything, is for the diehard fans because if you think about the trajectory of Witcher 3, it sold a lot of units over a lot of years because people kept talking about it. This is the greatest RPG. This is the greatest RPG. You gotta try it. You gotta try it. And it had a steady sort of income of sales. And I think that CD Projekt Red probably wants to just play it safe and do that with Cyberpunk. They want to release this update for the people that are still playing Cyberpunk, that still talk about it, and just bring this game up to what it should be and what was promised. So is it a bad time for new players? Absolutely, because Cyberpunk already has such a stained reputation. Who's going to pick that over Horizon Zero Dawn, which is getting glowing reviews, or Horizon Forbidden West, whatever the name is.
Yeah, whatever weird title. Yeah.
And Elden Ring, right, and like all this stuff. So yeah, I think that, like I said, their strategy is this is for player retention. This is for the people that have already bought in it, and that the diehard fans, because word of mouth is a huge part of CD Projekt Red's success and their sales.
One thing I'll say about the updates that I find interesting is on the PlayStation Store on PS4, there's still the disclaimer that like this game is not well run on PS4. Like if you have that system, it's basically not an enjoyable experience for you, which is a little disappointing to still see that. But I think that kind of further cements that this game should have never released as a cross-gen game. It should have released next-gen and PC only, and they should have just, left the old consoles behind. But yeah, obviously it got me back into it, and I started it up, and I actually loaded my save that I had when the game came out, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. I have to start over because I literally don't know what's happening. So right. I started over, and that, as I explained in games we're playing, didn't make it far.
Luckily for you, however, Xbox is smart, literally, and has smart delivery.
Yeah.
PlayStation owners, however, have to re-download the PS4 version if you deleted it, and then upload your save, and then download the PS5 version. It's such a hassle. To make matters worse, folks, primarily in Europe, because apparently Europe does a lot of this. I had to read about it. Some players can't even upgrade to the PS5 version because of region lock. If you have the disc version, you put it in, you may have a disc that's from a different region because just storefronts just do that in Europe because it's a lot easier just to sell these copies, right? So increasing frustration. That's on Sony's side. That's not even on CD Projekt side. So increasing frustration is there.
I saw a couple of people running into issues on the PlayStation side with their files being corrupted when they opened up the PS5 version, transferring that stuff. It's like, guess I have to start over if they decided to even start over at all. I mean, that would just sour my mood completely, and I just not playing this game. But if they decided to go through it, it sucks that they have to start over. And but yeah, all of this is great. Like, I love all the updates that they're announcing here. It's super awesome, as Gage was saying, for the people who are still playing and for those who want to return. But all I can think about is like, what if this game just launched now, or not even now, just like later down this year when it like this for PS5, for Xbox Series S, with all of this, it would have been such a completely different what if situation for this game, for the people who made The Witcher 3 being able to continue that reputation easily if it launched
Right.
like this.
If
But
it launched late
yeah.
next month, late March, it would kill. It would
Yeah.
absolutely dominate. Yeah.
And that's kind of what it goes back to. If you give the people enough time to make the game great, the game's going to be great. Like, you have to give the developers enough time to make it great. Like, the publishers don't care because they want the money, but at the end of the day, the game's got to be great as well.
Which, to bring it back even farther, is why I'm so excited to see all these new studios come up, right? Where they have less oversight. Because if this was Rebel Wolves making Cyberpunk 2077 and they were still independent, they would release the game when they wanted to, right? And I think we're all in agreement that this, right around now, in terms of how the game functions in this update, is probably how it should have functioned at launch, right? So, yeah, if they had launched it now, that would have been awesome. And just to talk about those PS5s corrupting saves, I haven't played Cyberpunk, so I don't know if its length or its content is comparable to Witcher 3 at all. But if I was halfway through The Witcher 3 and my save got corrupted, I'd be like, I'm not playing the game anymore. I'm not playing. I'm done.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Awful.
That's ridiculous.
My God.
I played like 20 hours. Sorry, go ahead, Ro.
No, go for it. Go.
I played 20 hours of Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. It was like some of the worst writing I've ever seen in my entire life. That writing was terrible, man. There's a scene where it's like, I won't spoil what's actually like who these people are, but it's like, press X to take pills, and then you're like taking all these pills, and you're like having sex, and it's like, oh, this is so edgy, and I'm like, what is even going on? Why are we doing this?
How did we get here?
You took all those pills.
All this to say is like, not story wise, but let's say bug wise, people were like pretty badly burned on Cyberpunk. Like, they did not want to play this game anymore. Like,
Right.
do you guys think this is enough to bring people back? Because there's a lot of people who are like kind of waiting on this, like, but now they just to stealth drop it right now when people are looking forward to like so many other games. Like, I don't know. Like, I know Gage is talking about retention, but like, is it gonna bring a lot of players back?
I think it will. I mean, we have to keep in mind, we live in a time of like No Man's Sky. Like, that game launched way worse than Cyberpunk in terms of promised content and not delivering. I mean, straight up lies. And it's evolved into a fantastic. Just got another huge update. I think last today. Yeah, another for free. For free.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think it's too late at all. I think probably in like a year or two, Cyberpunk will be spoken about as a great RPG if it ends up, keeping down that line. I don't think it's too late at all. I think games, the nature of games nowadays, that they can be improved over time. I think the issue is just, it still comes back to pre-ordering and misleading and false advertising and all that stuff, where you send reviewers the best version of it and then you don't show, base consoles and all that stuff. That's still an issue that CD Projekt Red is going to have to deal with, and that's going to hurt them in the long run. But I think Cyberpunk definitely has a bright future ahead of it.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I don't think it's too late, but I think releasing at this time is just not a good decision, because like there's going to be, like you said, a lot of people that are going to be playing Horizon Forbidden West instead, because it's also an RPG. Obviously, it's not an apples to apples type thing because they're different gameplay mechanics, but you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be playing that game on PlayStation, and there's going to be a lot of people playing, other games that have just come out recently, where this is literally like the most games we've gotten in the first half of the year in a long time. Elden Ring out in a couple weeks. Like, yeah, it's, I don't know.
Destiny.
I think down maybe a couple months from now, maybe it'll spike back up some interest.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying with it releasing at a weird time. But there are some things that players that they're still going to be supporting this game. Like, I think there's DLC announced or
Right.
being worked on for this game. So they have other chances. So it's cool that this is like an update sort of thing, just to make it playable, I guess, for a lot of people, and get the system ready for hopefully better content down the road. So maybe they have another chance where they don't release it around bigger games and they actually have some really cool story content to dive into. And
Yeah.
yeah, this seems like a game like Sleeping Dogs is kind of the game that I kind of compare it to, not in like it's the similar type of game, but for me, I played that game so late, but I loved it when I got the chance to play it. I
Right.
feel like Cyberpunk might be kind of like that for me, where maybe 2 years down the line when they're done with all the content, I pick it up and it's like, damn, this is a really good game, but it'll obviously be in the state that it was supposed to be when
Yeah.
it launched. So it's definitely not going to be a game that I dive into now, especially with all the games that you guys mentioned coming around the corner. But I can see myself maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, potentially when there's a little bit of a lull, diving into it and maybe really enjoying it. Who knows?
Perfect. You already answered the last question that I was going to set up. Also, I do want to add though, because I forgot to mention this. Well, first of all, just to respond to you, like, I think you guys are right. Like, if the game wasn't out yet, I think probably saving it for like later would have been the goal. But because the game is already out, I think it's like, let's just get the patch out now. If people play it, they play it. If not, like, we do have more like improvements they want to make, and we do have DLC coming. So like, we'll just get that out now and focus on our next big updates to come. Something that I did like, however, is that they released a free trial on PlayStation. I don't know if it's the same on Xbox, but you can play it for I think 5 hours on to 5 or 10 hours on PlayStation, and then carry your save over, which is fantastic. Because you're sinking a lot of time into an RPG, you want to be able to move that save over. So it's at least going to help entice people like who haven't been able they tried it out because of the state it was in when it launched, and now kind of ready to go, and you can try it out now. So I think I'm gonna try it out again. I put like 20 hours or so into it. Was not having fun, but now that it's in like this kind of more proper state, I think it's worthy of going back. I don't know when, maybe in the summer when things hopefully die down a little bit. I don't know what the rest of 2022 is gonna look like in terms of release dates, but
Mario
I
Strikers.
do want to give it another shot. Oh, Strikers! Yeah, there's no way I'm playing Cyberpunk. I'm sorry.
He's just gonna play Mario Strikers 24/7 when that comes out.
You joke, but you will.
Dan, if you play more of it, I'm curious to know what you think.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna try and play this week before Horizon comes out. We'll see.
Gage, did you play it? Sorry,
I did not play it. It's funny that Rashan brought up Sleeping Dogs, because I actually have a very similar experience with Sleeping Dogs, where I played it years after it came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is really solid." So yeah, I'm gonna copy Rashan's style and probably jump on Cyberpunk like the next time there's a drought, the next time there's a game drought, like if that's mid next year or whenever that, maybe this summer if Redfall gets pushed, who knows? But I'll probably wait until there's not a lot going on, and then jump into Cyberpunk after all these updates are in, and hopefully enjoy it. We'll see.
Was Redfall not slated for the fall, or am I tripping?
It was announced for summer 2022, but there are rumors that it's getting pushed to October.
Shout out to me and Ro for picking up some Nintendo games on Fantasy
Yeah.
Critic.
Right after the direct.
All right, I think it's gonna do it for us. Yeah. I forget how to like transition into the wrap up. I don't want to just say thank you.
I can do the outro if you want.
No, it's okay.
No.
Thank you again to everyone joining us live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, as well as podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, and Stitcher. Yeah. Thank you, Ro. Thank you, me, Gage. Yeah, we'll give you thank you as well. Daniel, we'll give you thank you. This has been Podcast PXN, baby, and we are out.
Much love and keep on gaming.
See ya.
Wouldn't want to be here.